Welcome back to another EDH deck tech. This is a continuation of a deep dive into Mono Black. This is Ayara, First of Locthwain. Really enjoyed this commander when it was spoiled. It just felt really flavoursome. It was slightly different to, say, some of your typical aristocrats. A lot of the aristocrat style decks will care about those creatures dying, but I, with Ayara, actually care about them coming in. Once they're in, there's nothing else that I need from them, so I might as well sack them for some benefits. So that's why Ayara kind of lends to that aristocrats style, because we do want a lot of creatures coming in. So there's a big mixture of mainly token creatures coming in. Ayara does care that they must be black. So everything but one creature coming into the battlefield is black. So there'll be lots of triggers. A lot of the times it's multiple creatures coming in at once. So it's not just one damage here, one damage there. You know, if you played your Blood Artists, Zulaport Cutthroats, you know that can be relatively annoying, but we've got a lot of creatures coming in at one time, so it's going to be hitting them for more than just one here and there. You know, Ayara does provide a bit of a card draw. It is a tap ability, so we want perhaps something better than that, because I haven't got anything in to help support that untap. It's mainly just about getting black creatures into the battlefield, start pinging people down. So we'll go through the deck. So first up, Bloodghast. So Bloodghast, great. It's going to come in each landfall. I want to be hitting those land each turn, so that's great. It's going to be getting us 1 damage. Nether Trader, another one that's going to kind of keep coming back and back, which is great. Again, I don't care what happens to them afterwards, as long as they're just black when they come in. Reassembling Skeleton, another super annoying one. For 2 mana, I'm just going to keep getting that trigger, which is really nice. And now some token generators. So a lot of the bulk is black tokens being generated. So Bitter Blossom's a great one because it will create that 1/1 black fairy each turn. But because of Yara's trigger, we're going to be gaining life and the opponent's going to be losing life. So it's going to be net neutral for us. So we're not going to bother about that loss of life. And our opponents are going to be slowly losing their life. Dreadhorde Evasion, another nice one, kind of like a cheaper, more redundant Bitter Blossom. We probably won't get a token that's very big, so we're not going to really hit that lifelink cause. But, you know, each turn we're getting a creature coming in and in. Now, with the trigger, it's going to keep growing and growing, so you really want to make sure that you have a continuous sack outlet so that this keeps coming in. But with Ayara, if you have this down and Ayara down, essentially it's going to trigger, make you a token. You can then tap it to sacrifice it to draw a card, and then the next turn, because you don't have a zombie army, it's going to trigger again. So it's a continuous every turn kind of trigger, which is great. Blightmount's a new one that I'm trying. This seems a bit of an odd one because Blightmount is not a creature, and Ayara wants black creatures to come in. So the initial Blightmount is not really going to give you anything. But the fact is, it's going to be giving you those black and green pests, and those pests are green. Black. So you will be gaining that life and your opponent's losing life. And there's also a bit of gain life when those pests die as well. And, you know, 2/1 menace pests can be a bit annoying. Now, this one does care about non-token creatures dying, so we need to make sure that we're hitting those recurable reassembling skeletons and bloodghasts and things like that, as well as some of the other creatures that we have. But this one I am trying out. This one may or may not, you know, continue on, but it's something I'm trying out from the new C21 decks. Yeah. Ophiomancer. Great card, so quite expensive now, but each upkeep is going to be creating a black snake, and so that's also on your opponent's turns, of course. So if you have a continuous sack outlet each round, it's going to go and you're going to be creating a snake each time, and getting that trigger from Ayara. So, you know, around the table it's going to be 4 life, which is really nice, as well as Death Touch kind of deters people from attacking us. Considering which, it's going to be creating rats, so those black rats. There is a little bit of a rat kind of theme going on here. It does come with a sack outlet, but you have to pay for that. It's not that really that interesting. But the fact is, it's just going to be giving us some of those rats. So we're going to get hopefully 3 rats. I mean, if you have 3 opponents, so you're going to get 3 triggers off it, which is super nice. So you can get aristocrat or autocrat, sorry. Very much same thing. You're going to be getting these serfs that come in, and when it leaves, serfs are also going to leave. But we don't really care about that. We just want to get those tokens in, so you're going to get that 3 damage on everybody. Endrick Sar, Master Breeder. Another one, so we have a lot of creatures in this deck, so it will create those XX black thralls. So do try to make sure that you have your sack outlets in place, your repeatable sack outlets, because once you hit that thrall limit, you will, this obviously will, you'll have to sacrifice it. So we want to keep this kind of churning around, keep that kind of 5-6 thrall kind of limit. Further down there is Tevishat, which also creates thralls. So you need to do your maths and have your little mini game with this one as well. But just maybe have a recurable sack outlet in place. Ayara is probably not enough to have this one around. Ghoulcaller Giza. Great, just great. It's going to give us those black zombies, going to give us multiple zombies. Hopefully you're going to be sacrificing something with more than 1 power, so you're going to get multiple zombies, and it's only a black mana. So yeah, just super nice. You're going to start clogging out the board, just great value. Ogre Slumlord. Another one, this one does care about non-token creatures, so again, we need to make sure that we're hitting those creatures that are not tokens, and then we're going to be getting those rats, and those rats will have Death Touch, which is again also nice to kind of deter people from attacking us. We're not really going to be attacking people in this kind of deck, but just the fact that we can try to start getting some of those rats down, we're getting more triggers is going to be great. So we start, I mentioned before, it's going to create thralls, so make sure you manage it with Endrick Sar. The +1 is nice. It's a sack outlet, so we can start drawing some cards. We're not really going to sacrifice our commander unless we had to, but draw 2 on the +1 loyalty is pretty nice, and the -10 is very game threatening. It can really deter some hate, so maybe have some of those Death Touch rats going and things like that to deter people from attacking you, but very powerful card. Grave Titan. A big beater, but it does create those zombies, which is really, really nice. It's what we want. It's going to get those 2 zombies, and when it attacks, it's going to get 2 zombies. It usually doesn't get around to attacking or creating. If it does get to attack, it might only be 1 round. But the fact is, it's creating multiple black creatures at a time. When this comes down, you're going to get 3 triggers. So really, really nice. Liliana, Dreadhorde General, one of the best planeswalkers in the format. It does everything we want. Our creatures are dying, so we're going to draw cards from it. We want to create those tokens, so those zombie tokens each turn. So it's some removal, and the ult is game winning. So this one's super, super powerful. Okay, and then Abhorrent Overlord. We have a lot of black permanents, so that devotion is not going to be too hard to hit. And the fact is, it's just going to create a whole load of tokens. So, that's what we want. We want those black tokens. You're going to have, Devotion 6, 7, 10. So you're going to get those harpies into play and get huge triggers off Ayara. Really, really start dwindling people's life totals down. And then the last one and the best one. So Plague of Vermin. I've never seen this card before building this deck. I didn't have it. So essentially, you're going to go around the table and you're going to say an amount of life. Now, for you don't really care, because you just need to be able to pay how much life, up to how much life you have, or a little bit less. And then, you're going to create those black rats, and then you're going to ping everybody for 1 damage for each of those rats. So if you're on 30 life, you say, I'm going to pay 29. and you get 29 rats, and they're all black creatures, so you're going to gain 29 life, and your opponents are all going to lose 29 life. So it's really going to deter your opponents because they can't make any rats, because once they make rats, their life total is going to go down, and then your Ayara triggers are just going to make it worse. So really, you're the only one that's going to be getting rats. So it's really fun with some of these older cards where it just doesn't seem that good unless it's in this very specific situation. So a very powerful card. Game winning, this is one of the win cons. You've already pinged people down, hopefully, by this time. And the fact is they just can't pay that 30 life. Or they just can't pay, 1 or 2 here, because I'm going to pay, 30 life. And just hit everyone. So it's really, really nice. All right, some sack outlets. So you want cheap, efficient sack outlets. Now, some of them are permanent based in this deck, and some are instants and sorceries. So there's a mixture, but we want to try to be as efficient, want to be as free as possible. Like I said before, Yara's sack ability is not really that efficient. We have to tap it. So we want something that's more repeatable, especially when we're trying to maybe manage those Edric Sar thralls. So for Sirisia, sacrifice a creature, scry 1. It's nice, classic. Plaguecrafter, it sacks itself. It's a bit of removal, not one that's repeatable, but this one is probably the best of this kind of effect. So it just serves as a kind of additional removal. Woestrider. So Woestrider's the only interesting one. So it will create a goat, but that goat is white, not black. So remember that. It's not going to trigger Ayara. But the fact is, it's a free sack outlet. The scry abilities, nice, because it's just like a Visirisia. It has escape. Now, this deck isn't really using its graveyard a lot. So, just having something in there to utilize your graveyard a bit is really great. And just that free sack outlet is super nice. Ashnod Altar, great, classic, helps us ramp out more. And then for Requiem Altar, same thing. It's going to give us that 1 mana, which is really nice. And then Sir Conrad starts off some of our, starts off our kind of sacrifice death benefit. So Sir Conrad, you're going, every time you sack your creatures, you're going to get that trigger, which is really nice. So the creatures will trigger coming in with Ayara, and they'll trigger going out with Sir Conrad. So again, this is all about dealing 1 damage to people. So Conrad's one of the better ones. Then you've got Zulaport Cutthroat, same thing, but this one does it to all opponents, which is nice. So again, creatures coming in, do a trigger, creatures going out, do a trigger. So again, double trigger over creatures, great. Vindictive Vampire, one of the more expensive ones. Same thing, each opponent loses 1, you gain 1. Falcon Wrath Noble, same thing. Blood Artist, one of the cheaper ones. So this one is not all opponents. This one is target player. But you've got so many enter the battlefields and leaving the battlefield triggers that you're going to start windling people down, getting people down to those harder to defend life totals. Bastion of Remembrance, nice one, because it does do it does create a token, but again, that token is white. So do keep that in mind. But it's an enchantment, so it's a little bit harder to deal with rather than some of those creatures. Now I've got a little bit of life gain benefit. So every time those creatures come in, we are gaining 1 life. So there's some nice benefit to that. There's some creatures that just care that you've gained some life rather than how much life. So Vein Witch Coven's a nice new one. So we can just pay 1 and return one of those cards, one of those creature cards to our hand, which is really, really nice. And it's just, one swamp just to, get that back. So it's just really, really nice, efficient, has menace, but, we're not really swinging out. But it's just whenever you gain life, and we're going to be gaining life every time a black creature comes in. So it will trigger itself with Ayara, which will allow us to, get those creatures back for one. Veto, Thorn of Dust Rose. So when we gain life, each opponent's going to lose that much life. So it's again, it's kind of almost that Zulaport Cutthroat type effect, because we don't have big amounts of life that we're gaining, and we can give creatures lifelink, but that's probably not really going to be a big problem. It's more just to add to that kind of Zulaport Cutthroat type effect. And then Witch of the Moors, really nice one. So it's 5 mana, and it checks at the end of your it checks at your end step, beginning of your end step, whether you've gained life. Which of course, when this comes in with Ayara will trigger, which means we gain life. And so just this coming in with Ayara will trigger it, so that all your opponents can sacrifice, and you're going to get something back. So this one I really like. Metallica Rebirth, this one's an interesting one. It doesn't really fit in any other category. It's just a bit of protection. I do play some of these modal double face cards in my decks, just because, you know, this isn't an effect that I would play, but the fact is it's land on the other side. So, you know, I do like that effect. I don't really have a lot of creatures that I want to protect. Maybe I do want to protect Ayara, because it can be a bit difficult. You know, it's 3 mana value, total mana value, but you know, that starts to chew up when I want to be putting out tokens and things like that. So just a little protection is quite nice. Okay, some draw. So Soul Clamp, again, it's going to help with that sacrifice. There's a lot of you know, 1/1s, 2/1s, you know, zombie armies, fairy tokens, reassembling skeletons, bloodghast, nether trader, harpy tokens, thrall tokens. You know, pretty much everything is some X1 in this deck. So just really premium card draw. Village Rites, another one just to help sacrifice, start getting some of those death triggers in, and you know, someone's wiping the board will just Village Rites get some of those cards out of it. Night's Whisper, one that I put in all my black decks, just super efficient, 2 mana, draw 2 and lose 2, but we don't care, we're gaining a lot of life. Plum the Forbidden is another new one that I'm trying out. Essentially, it's, you know, where it's going to copy, so this isn't really like a storm deck or anything like that, but we are going to have a lot of copies. We don't have any Magecraft or anything, but if we have, you know, 5-6 tokens, you know, we want to start converting them into some card draw. They're not really doing anything, and we need to get further down into our deck. You know, that's just really good to, you know, be able to sacrifice them. Or some of board wipes, we can just, you know, sacrifice, you know, our entire board, turn those into cards instead. Sign in Blood, another great one. Just super efficient, 2 mana, draw 2. Lose 2, life gain. We have a lot of life gains, so it doesn't matter. This one is target though, so you know, you can target another opponent if you need. Dark Prophecy, really great. So whenever a creature you control dies, so this one does include tokens, which is, you know, usually the ones that we want. We're going to draw a card and lose a life. Those tokens would have given us a life, so the life loss is, you know, pretty negligible, but really nice. We can be sacrificing quite a few creatures. Phyrexian Arena, you know, one of the slower ones, but you know, each turn we're going to be getting that card and losing that life, and yeah, it can really start to build up, but yeah, if you get a late game, that's a bit rough. Read the Bones, another just relatively common black draw spell. This one's 3 mana, you get to scry 2, so you get to, you know, check your cards first, which is nice, but other than that, you know, draw 2, and again, we don't care about losing life. Smothering Abomination, another really nice one. This one's a creature. It is a it has no color, and it will sacrifice a creature on our upkeep, so we have lots of tokens, but whenever we sacrifice, we draw a card, so we're going to be drawing those cards when we are getting rid of a lot of those tokens, so really valuable. Boluses Citadel, I often put this one in my black deck even without any life gain. So really nice. Sorry, my dog's bothering. Without any life gain whatsoever, just because it's just so valuable. But with this one, we actually do have some life gain. A lot of our life gain is a bit net neutral, and that we're only really gaining 1 life at a time. But sometimes this is all you need when it comes to Boluses Citadel. You just need a good, you know, 10, 15 extra life just to kind of churn through some of those cards. So if it's good in cards without life gain, it's going to be even better in this type of deck. Bone Shards. Bone Shards is a new one from MH2. This one I really liked. I was like, wow, this is so cool. So it's a sorcery, so you know, this whatever, but it's only 1 mana, so it's not that bad when it comes to a sorcery. But it's nice because it's sacrifice and or discard. Sorry, or discard. Just to kind of get this out. So 1 mana, and I want to be sacrificing creatures anyway to destroy target creature or a planeswalker. So before it was like sacrifice a creature, destroy target creature. Now it's sacrifice or discard and get a creature or planeswalker. So just kind of hitting everything that we want to be able to hit, and really do it in a way that really supports our deck. So yeah, just super nice. I think this one's really nice. Tragic Slip, we have a lot of creatures dying, so we're going to get those -13s or relatively easily. It's going to get around just indestructible, things like that. Feed the Swarm, one I put in all my black decks, just to kind of get rid of some of those pesky enchantments. Maybe someone's got like a rest in peace or something like that out on the battlefield. You know, this is really going to help because we're not going to get those leave the battlefield triggers. So yeah, really, really nice. Baleful Mastery, another one that I've been putting in that I've been enjoying. It's 4 mana to exile a target creature or planeswalker. Really not that great of a rate, but the fact is it's 2 mana, so it's a lot cheaper. 2 mana is really easy to hold up, and you can give that card to any opponent. So you know, give it to whoever's losing or about to lose. Deadly Rollick, you know, I want my commander out, so I will be meeting this requirement, and just exiling target creatures. Yeah, just really, really nice. Anger Mauling, this one's, you know, you wouldn't play a 4 mana murder, but it's in here because it is a land on the other side. So, you know, if I need a land, I need a land. If I don't, well, you know, I can use the removal on something. So, you know, if I need to, doesn't matter. Grave Pact, just great. I have lots of my own creatures dying, which is going to force other people to lose their creatures. So it's really going to clear the board. And then Dictate of Erebos, same thing. This one has flash, so I can kind of, you know, get people, which is nice. Toxic Deluge, so this is my mass board removal. I pretty much play the same suite of mass board removals in most of my black decks. So Toxic Deluge, just super cheap, gets around indestructible. Damnation, just classic, 4 mana, efficient, it's just going to get rid of everything. And Mutilate, also going to get around those indestructibles with those -1, -1s. Play a lot of swamps, so you know you're going to be meeting this. You're going to be getting, you know, -6. -10, whatever. Like you're going to be destroying pretty much everything. Okay, so ramp, pretty generic ramping. Black has those kind of things that are doubling mana or, you know, just plain mana rocks. So Soul Ring, classic. Dark Ritual, I can get to, you know, turn 1 Ayara out and start getting some of those creatures coming in turn 2, like get those Bitter Blossoms down, for instance, start getting those triggers super early, which is nice. Arcane Signet, classic. Fell Bloodstone, great. Black is normally a color that will be played by some of your opponents, so you know you're going to be hitting that. That's nice. Jet Medallion, you know, we have a lot of black. Our commander doesn't have any generic mana cost, but when it does die and you need to bring it back, you know, it's going to reduce that, as well as, you know, a lot of our other cards have generic mana costs in it, so you know it's really great. Mindstone can help with a bit of card draw later on. So you know, if you need, else it's just a colorless mana rock. We don't really care about you know, what color it is. Thought Vessel, same thing. You're not really gonna have a big hand of too many cards unless you've got quite a few of those kind of Dark Prophecy style effects. So yeah, it's not really going to be too important. The fact is, it's just a 2 mana rock that provides a nice you know, extra bump in mana. Cryptghast, classic mono black card. We play a lot of swamps, and the Extort is kind of nice because it's going to, you know, kind of double up on a Yara's trigger, be that kind of redundancy on that, where we just have to pay that black mana, and we're going to be hitting the Yara's effect twice essentially. Pitiless Plunderer, another one. So this is whenever another creature you control dies. So this one doesn't care about tokens. So we're going to be killing a lot of those tokens, and then, you know, getting those treasures for our ramp. So really, really powerful in this one. Black Market, another one whenever a creature dies. So we have control over killing our own creatures. We don't care about those 1/1 tokens. So black market can really start to add some counters. Great Merchant of Asphodel, another one of our alternative win conditions. We're going to have a lot of devotion because we have a lot of black permanents. So, this is going to be draining everyone. You've already started to hopefully drain people by this time. And so, getting people for 10 devotion is sometimes enough. All right, so lands. This is more of a casual style deck, so the land base is not as optimized as it can be. There's some cards that I've chosen not to put in here just because this is a more casual kind of deck. So Aghanim Awakening, it's nice, it brings things back. It is a land, one of those kind of vault lands, I guess, on the other side where you can pay 3. So it's nice where I can just kind of put this in as a black source if I need, but it can get a lot of cards out of the graveyard. Some of those like cheap like blood artist effects or anything like that. Sorry, my dog's trying to get comfortable. A lot of those blood artist style cards where they're like 1, 2, 3 mana. Aghanim's Awakenings, quite nice because they're all going to come into the battlefield. They're all going to get those triggers, and then we can stack them later. Bajuka Bogs and Graveyard Hate, really great. Cabal Stronghold. Now, I usually play Cabal Coffers and Cabal Stronghold, but this one's a bit more on the casual side. So just Cabal Stronghold is enough. Just later game, you're going to be getting that extra bump in mana. Now, this one doesn't only care about basic swamps, so but we play a lot of basic swamps, so we're going to meet that. But once you start getting 5, 6 basic swamps, it's going to be really nice. Castle Locthwain. I don't always play this in even my black decks, just because it really depends on whether I can get rid of my hand. I play it in something like a discard deck where I'm also being discarded. But this one does fit thematically with Ayara. So I have got this one in, but you might pay 3 or 4 life for another card. We don't really care too much about our life because we are gaining life in this deck. So paying that 3 or 4 life for a card if I need to, well, yeah, I'll pay it. Plus it's thematically on point. Ghost Quarter. I always play one of these kind of land destruction lands in my deck just to get around people's Guy's Cradles or their Cabal Coffers or their Field of the Dead or something like that, just to help with that. In something that's more with an increased budget, it would be like a Strip Mind. Myriad Landscape, just a nice little ramp. Black doesn't have that much ramp in it. A lot of it is some rituals and mana rocks, as well as some treasure tokens and things like that, but it's not really guaranteed. So Myriad Landscape just helps with a little bit of that ramp. You don't want to be playing too many utility lands, especially in this, because Ayara, needs those 3 black pips. But yeah. Next to those, try Nix. Devotion's easy enough to deal with. This is our 3rd kind of devotion deck card that we want. So we're going to be hitting those high devotions, especially with Ayara. It's already providing 3 pips. So this and 2 mana and Ayara out is already going to be net neutral. So anything more that you've got on the board, it's going to be fantastic. Phyrexian Tower, sack outlet's going to give us that extra ramp in mana. So those zombie army tokens that we want to kind of get rid of, that's what that's what we want to do, because we're going to get 2 mana off of Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. We're going to be wanting to turn everything into swamps. Even the little amount of utility lands that we do play, we do want to turn those into swamps, because any single colorless land really then stops us from getting Ayara out as fast as possible. So Urborg, great. War Room, I've been putting in a lot of my mono black as well as monocolored decks, just because 1 life is much better than, say, the Castle Locthwain, where maybe I'll be paying 4 or 5 life. This one's just 1 life. It's going to give me that card draw. So yeah, really, really nice. And then Witch's Cottage. we don't play any real reanimator effects other than, you know, like Vein Witch Coven and things like that, those that trigger off the life gain, but which is Cottage, you know, nice. We play a lot of swamps, so we're going to be meeting that criteria. And, you know, to put something on top of our graveyard that our opponents maybe got rid of, maybe that Grave Titan or something like that, our opponents gotten rid of. So it's just nice to put that on top of our library and kind of start it again. Or, you know, that Sengir Autocrat or something like that, just to get, you know, a lot of those tokens back out. So yeah, really, really nice. And then the rest of the deck is just some swamps. So, you know, a lot of swamps. You know, it's a mono black and we want to support those kind of swamp cards. So, yeah, it's really good. Ayara, First of Locthwain, really, really nice. Sometimes I build my black decks a bit mean. So having this kind of version where it's a bit more casual and a bit more enjoyable, I guess, for everyone. It's a slow, grindy death. So, you know, everyone can see it happening, but, you know, when it starts, you don't really care about that 1-2 life here and there, and then it starts getting 3, 4, and then you're down into your 20s, and then, you know, the game really starts to add pressure. And I like that slow grind to the inevitable hopeful win. So yeah, I enjoy this deck and I hope you do too. See ya.